The sun blazed high over the Ridgeview High School football field, where rows of folding chairs stretched across the grass and proud families packed the bleachers, each heart filled with anticipation and pride. It was graduation day. A day of milestone moments, proud tears, and new beginnings. For Staff Sergeant Marcus Green, this day meant everything. He had served 22 years in the United States Marine Corps, done 3 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, lost good men to war, and survived 2 IED blasts that left him with a permanent limp. But none of that compared to the pride swelling in his chest today. Because today, his only son, Jordan, was graduating. Jordan had grown up without luxuries. No fancy sneakers, no video games, no spring break vacations. Just his dad, discipline, a second-hand laptop, and a dream. And today, that dream was walking across the stage in a blue gown and gold honor cord, headed to college on scholarship. Marcus had arrived an hour early. He stood quietly at the back of the stadium, too humble to push through the crowds or take a seat he hadn't reserved. In his dress blues, pressed, polished, and proud, he stood alone, hands behind his back, eyes locked on the stage. But as the ceremony began, something changed. 2 security guards approached him, followed by a man in a school-issued blazer, clipboard in hand. They didn't smile. "Sir," the man said sharply, "this area's restricted. You need to move." Marcus turned, confused. "I'm standing behind the chairs. I'm not in anyone's way." "There have been complaints," the man continued. "Some families are saying you're obstructing the view. We have designated areas for standing guests." Marcus gestured to the wide-open space around him. "I'm not blocking anyone. I just want to see my son." The man's voice dropped lower. "Look, we've got an image to maintain. This is a formal event. If you don't have a seat or wristband, we're going to have to ask you to leave the area." Marcus felt it immediately. It wasn't about rules. It was about him. The uniform. The color of his skin. The way some people still saw a black man, even in full military dress, as a disruption, not a decoration. For a second, he considered walking away. He'd been through worse. He'd swallowed pride more times than he could count. But today was different. He stood his ground. "I served this country so my son could walk across that stage. I'm not leaving." But the guards stepped closer. And then, just when tension thickened and a few heads started turning, something unexpected happened. 4 men stood up from the far side of the bleachers. They walked with purpose, not urgency. Broad shoulders, quiet eyes, calm expressions. They didn't yell. They didn't rush. One of them stopped next to Marcus and looked the school official dead in the eye. "Is there a problem here?" The man with the clipboard raised his chin. "Who are you?" The stranger reached into his back pocket, pulled out a small black wallet, and flipped it open to reveal a gold trident badge, the mark of a Navy SEAL. "Chief Petty Officer Sam Keller, SEAL Team 3. Retired. This man served beside me in Marja, Afghanistan. He's no threat. He's a hero. And if you think we're going to let you walk him off this field in front of his son, you're sorely mistaken." The man didn't know what to say. Then the second SEAL stepped forward. "Staff Sergeant Green pulled me out of a Humvee seconds before it exploded," he said, looking Marcus in the eye. "He lost half his squad that day. And he still carried me 300 yards under fire to a medevac chopper." The third spoke next. "He covered our rear for hours. Bled from a shoulder wound and never complained once. That man's got more medals than this school has trophies." And then the last one, the youngest, simply said, "He taught me what it means to be a man. And a father. You try to move him, you move us too." A hush fell over the crowd. People who had been watching from a distance began to rise to their feet. Not all. But enough. Phones went up. Whispers turned into conversations. A teacher came out from behind the podium and walked over. "We had no idea," she said, her voice quiet, ashamed. "You're welcome here, Sergeant Green. Please stay." Marcus nodded, still stunned. He looked at the SEALs, his brothers, and swallowed hard. "I didn't think you'd come," he said quietly. One of them grinned. "You think we'd miss Jordan's graduation?" "Not a chance. We made a promise." They stood with him as the principal began to call names again. The ceremony resumed. But the atmosphere had changed. There was reverence now. And then came the moment. "Jordan Elijah Green," the speaker announced. Jordan stepped onto the stage, tall and proud. His cap nearly slipped off as he scanned the crowd, until he saw them. His father, standing upright. And beside him, 4 men standing just as tall. Jordan's eyes welled with tears. Instead of walking across, he turned and jogged down the steps, straight into his father's arms. The audience stood and erupted into applause. Not polite clapping. Real applause. Thunderous, proud, tearful. The kind you hear once in a lifetime. Later that evening, a photo would go viral, Marcus in uniform, tears on his cheeks, Jordan hugging him, and 4 Navy SEALs standing behind them like an unbreakable wall. The caption read, "They tried to remove a Marine from his son's graduation. Until his brothers showed up." And in that moment, the world was reminded. That courage doesn't always come in the form of loud protests or angry words. Sometimes it comes in silence. In presence. In unity. That love, real love, doesn't wear colors or carry egos. It simply shows up. And that no man who has served with honor should ever have to fight for the right to be proud of his own child. Marcus didn't leave that field in shame. He left it in triumph. With his head held high, his heart full, and his son at his side. And 4 brothers watching his back, just like they always had. Because when you stand for what's right, you're never standing alone.